Welcome to a Rational Alchemy, though today we're going to be calling ourselves Rational Shawan Na. I know you've got a funny expression on your face now, but I'm joined here at the table by Shawan Na, who has been into the studio many times, but this is the first time you're actually, I believe, seeing her face. It's got to be close. Shawan Na, welcome to the table.
Thank you for having me back. I'm excited to be here and to talk about some new things going on.
Yes, and of course you've had a lot going on in your life recently.
Indeed.
Indeed you have. So first of all though, let's surprise everybody. Why don't we talk about what you actually do as a full-time career?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
So I am a licensed professional counselor. I have been in the field for over 25 years, and I specialize in crisis and trauma, so I've spent the majority of my career working with people in the worst situations that you could possibly think of on the news, you know, like shootings, floods,
any kind of disaster, really.
Yeah, and
personal disaster,
right.
or even a community disaster.
Exactly. Yeah. So you go to the scene of crimes, domestic violence, you know, shootings, suicides. Also, I did mental health evaluations for hospitals and jails and residential treatment centers for a while. Worked at a psychiatric stabilization hospital for a while, which was. Woo! That could be a whole show.
That could be difficult. Yes.
Yeah. I definitely. That one was probably one of the harder ones.
Yes.
I was assaulted regularly, and when I started at the hospital, I was fresh out of graduate school. Just got my master's. I was working on my license. You need 2,000 hours postgraduate school.
Oh wow!
Before you get your license, so it's another basic 2 years of some sort of study. So I, get in this hospital. It's a nonprofit, and I'm going to leave its name out of this just for, obvious reasons. But so I started there. It was nonprofit. And over the course of that year that I was there, it changed from a little bitty small town, hometown feeling kind of hospital to the biggest behavioral health corporation in the nation at that time.
Wow.
And so I saw Pennsylvania come in and take everybody out. I stayed because I was fresh. They could brainwash me. Everybody talks about the system. I fought against it for my entire career. Not against it, against the parts of it that are horrific for people.
Okay.
The parts of it that everybody complains about, that they want to see changed. These are things that, there's a few of us still around that will, hey, CEO, you're not an LPC, okay?
Right.
You have a business degree, and I'm not signing my name on that piece of paper to say that this person is safe to go home when they're trying to kill their neighbor.
Right. That
I'm
makes a lot of
sorry.
sense.
Not sending them out in the community. So you see these things going on, and these are reasons why.
Right.
Money, insurance.
Where did you get your training, your schooling?
I went to a few different junior colleges here in Colorado, and then I lived in Nebraska for a little while. But I went to the University of Denver for my undergrad double major, psych and sociology. Nobody ever asked me my GPA, and it was awesome.
What was your GPA?
3.9999, almost 4.0. I was really pissed about that A-.
Oh, dear.
So that was my undergrad. And then I went to Colorado Christian University for my master's degree.
Oh, okay.
So, I got a secular education, and then I got my master's in clinical psych. And as my belief system, I merged both of them, and I still very much believe that the world has a lot to offer, more than just the Bible and my spiritual piece. So, I wanted both.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're a crisis counselor, is that correct?
I was.
Oh,
that is
not so much now?
Not so much now. Yeah,
okay.
So the bulk of my career has been that. Now, I took a sabbatical because I used to get assaulted. I've been called probably every single solitary name in the book, and words have power.
They do. I don't think people realize the sword, the pen is mightier than the sword.
And we're human too. We're not just this this blank canvas that you can throw knives at.
That's right.
It hurts.
Yeah, oh yes.
We have training. I've got 12 years of college. I still cry every now and again for my
I can
people.
understand that.
You know, like I can't, some of the stuff I'm just, how can people do these things?
Yep, right.
After 25 years. But now, going back around to your question, I do ongoing therapy. So
Okay.
I came back after 5-10 years with some sprinkles of stuff and, you know, continuing education to stay relevant, research and things. But I now am an ongoing counselor with both BetterHelp, and I have a private practice called Healing Hearts Within.
Okay.
And I'm dabbling in the idea of turning it into a nonprofit.
Yeah.
But right now it's my private practice, and I opened that portion solely for people who needed a sliding scale. I could charge probably $150 an hour. I don't need $150 an hour. I've been homeless. I know what it's like to need somebody to talk to.
Right.
And have $5 in my pocket. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I'll do free sessions, or I'll offer, you know, $35 or $60, whatever.
Something that people can afford.
Right. You know, like.
Even if it's only $1, it means they have paid for your service.
Exactly. And they have invested in themselves.
That's correct.
And that's the biggest predictor of success, besides faith and motivation and drive to succeed. And that's in anything.
That's true, yes.
You know?
Absolutely true. So from the crisis side to now the ongoing side, which side did you like to work in the most? I suppose they're very, very different as well.
Very, very different, yeah. I don't think I can choose right now. I think right now, as far as my own personal health goes, I love what I'm doing now. It's a lot less stressful.
Yeah, it's much calmer.
You know, I'm not being assaulted. I'm not being, you know, I'm not seeing the direct aftermath of a crime. The physical damage, not just the mental. That part is why I didn't get an MD.
Right. Plus, of course, you're now working with people that want to be with you.
Right. Versus they're
rather
locked
than
up, or
they are forced
because
to be
of
with
this
you because
theme.
of the situation. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you know it's so awesome because I get to see them again.
Right.
I never knew what happened to people.
I know, isn't that strange?
Or I see them on the news and I can't tell anybody.
Right.
I'm like, oh God, I can't believe that he actually did it.
Right.
And I'm sitting there next to my husband at the time.
Yes.
And he's like, what's wrong with you? Oh, just had a rough day. Let me go to the bathroom and cry for an hour.
Because I suppose basically everything you did was under an NDA, non-disclosure.
Yep, essentially, yeah, it says confidentiality.
Confidentiality, because you're in the medical field and all everything that goes with that.
NDAs, from what I have experienced, are actually more secure than a medical confidentiality agreement.
Supposedly.
Supposedly, but I would agree with it from my experience having been under NDAs.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, debatable, right?
Yes.
Ethics and all of these things come in, but who listens to ethics and entertainment?
Well, there is that.
I mean, there's a few of us around, obviously. We've got you.
Yes.
And, you know, some folks that are around here.
So now we've talked about, you know, what you actually do to earn a hard living. I say hard living in this case. A lot has changed since you were last here in the studio, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
So,
Indeed.
You know, you've just gone through a very difficult period of your life because, you know, we have chatted about this before the show. Do you want to talk a little bit about that now?
Sure,
okay.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, it's an experience that you could never, ever put into real words.
That's okay, take your time.
I have a lot to say about it.
Okay.
And you'll find out, you guys will all find out in an album, docuseries, and things like this. I went viral for something that no entertainer wants to go viral for. And I'm very talented. I know that.
Yes.
I'm a recording artist. I'm an actress. I've been in a Netflix film. I'm a model. I've produced multiple different types of shows. And this is what people, oh my God, are you okay? And no, I'm not.
Right.
But they don't want to really know.
Yes.
They want the tea. They want the receipts.
Yes.
And I'm like, you're not getting receipts.
I hear you.
Because there's lies. And there's always lies involved in what you see.
Yes.
On the television. There's sprinkles of truth, or might even be half truth.
Right.
But you always have to remember that is a human behind that camera.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if you had thousands and thousands of people thinking something about you that's absolutely untrue, and you can say nothing for your own safety. And a friend betrays you. That's about all you're going to get today.
It's the worst possible situation to be in. It really is.
It was, yeah. I got through it, though, and I can't believe how strong I am. I'm still in shock.
Yes.
It's not me, though.
That's
My
true.
belief is there's no way there's not a higher power. That's just me.
Yes.
I let everybody believe what they believe because everybody has their own experience.
Right. Right.
So I don't believe anybody's wrong necessarily.
Let's move on to you told me a lot of this story. Mm-hmm. In fact, I seem to remember you had me sort of rolling around the floor with laughter at some of it.
Yes.
California. Now,
would you like to be California girls?
When, where, and what the hell happened?
Oh, good Lord. All right. So, 19? I think it was 19. Oh, my God. We're going to talk about my age. This is horrible.
It was just a couple of years ago. Don't worry about it.
19 in the late 90s. So, just like every other 19-year-old, I'm like, oh, my God, see me, look at me. And I wanted to be in entertainment, and ended up out in California.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the phone call you got.
Oh, the phone call. You mean recently or?
No, the one that sort of triggered you going to California. Didn't someone call you?
No, so I actually remembered a lot of what happened in California when the Diddy scandal came out.
Okay.
And, I've had a lot of trauma in my life, so I have a hard time remembering everything about a lot of things, but...
What happens
when... Well, I didn't move to California.
No.
I went out there with the idea that, I was going to become this big, great...
The next best thing.
I'm going to be a supermodel, and, even though I have this big scar across my stomach and all this, and in the late 90s, you got to look like you look.
Yes.
You don't get Photoshop. You don't get another time to suck in your stomach.
Right.
You take your shot, and if you don't look perfect, you don't get it.
You don't get it.
And photographers, gods. Mm-hmm. So I go out there, and I am staying in Topanga Canyon, right across from Beverly Hills. We drove by so many stars, different mansions and things. God, there's so many parts of this story. So I get off the plane. I don't know if you've heard this part. All right, and I get in, to the car that they sent for me, and I go to the set of a porn. Yes.
That sort of movie studio.
Yes. Not expecting it. I did know that the photographer that I was out there to do my first photo shoot with did photography for some of the porn stars.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's a photographer. I didn't care. Go to the set. I walk in, and the guys are like, "Ooh, new actress? Hell no. Fluffer? Fuck you. You fluff yourself."
Yeah, fluff off out of here.
Right, exactly. stuff off. Hell yeah. So I was like, but I'll be half naked in the jacuzzi. That's fine. I don't care. But just don't film me. Leave me alone. That's not a thing I do. So anyway, going up forward, a whole bunch of nakedness, a whole bunch of porn, and I'm like, man, I didn't come out here for porn. I want to sing, I want to dance, I want to do entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that porn is, I'm not going to judge it, but that's not me.
Right.
So even got pulled over by the cops. And the cops were like talking to the photographer who shoots porn and apparently is known for it. And at the time they pulled me aside and they're like, what are you doing here? Get out of here and don't come back. This is the most dangerous place in the world. People get taken from here all the time. Girls die and all, they're telling me I'm scared to death. And the next thing I know, I am being taken to the Playboy Mansion. And this is the part I didn't remember very much of. And so what I've been remembering, I probably can't really talk about, but it's like I can't believe I couldn't remember it.
Right.
When I saw it on TV, I was like, whew, and I already had PTSD, so the flashbacks were insane. And I remember leaving and going, I am going to college. Fuck this.
Enough is enough.
Yeah, I'm not doing whatever that is or that. And I'm not going down there and I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah, and I have no name for that at all.
Right, what even is that?
Did you actually meet Hugh Hefner?
No, I did not. No. There was so many people.
Right.
And
no, I understand.
There was...
It would have been kind of nice just to have...
It would have been cool to say so, but at the same time, I don't know. Would it be?
He is rather famous.
I mean...
Whether he deserves that fame or not, of course, is another story. Yeah. But he is rather famous.
I can't judge him because I didn't meet him. But, I don't know. I don't know if I would have been happy about it or not later.
We will never know.
We will never know.
And
I feel like I'm blessed because I made that choice. And I was able to take all of that time studying and getting experience in the world and understanding and studying the mind and how to become a better human.
Yes.
That I was able to survive when I came back. I wasn't a young, fresh meat, didn't know anything, and you're going to mold me into this.
You're right.
And you're going to abuse me for the rest of my life. Nope. That's not going to happen. I did get hurt, but I'm here.
But you were strong enough to sort of, see over the shit.
Yeah, get through it. And I have the mental professionalism and understanding and everything.
Right.
To heal while I'm going through the muck.
Mm-hmm. See, it's funny, you talked about, you sort of get off the plane, you jump in the guy's car, you get whisked off to a studio, I'm going to see a real studio, and you walk into a porn studio. Not quite what I was expecting.
Not quite. Yeah.
It's not the same story, but this is what surprised me the most, along the same lines. I'm in Denmark, and I was living in Norway, we had driven down to Denmark for the weekend, and we were actually staying in an apartment.
Okay.
And the apartment actually was owned by a porn star,
nice.
As it happened. But, we're full to the gunnels. There's probably about 12 people staying in this one little apartment.
Wow.
I'll never forget, I was in a bunk bed 6 feet off the ground that had no safety railing.
On the top bunk, I would imagine.
Yes, yeah. Well,
and you're a crazy sleeper, right?
So Saturday night, we all go out to this club. And it was a really, really, really good nightclub.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible place. So, as always, after a couple of beers, you have to go for a quick whiz. So I wandered off to the men's room, all the rest of it. And sort of, there's 4 of us in there, all stood up by the urinals, and all of a sudden 4 girls burst in and said, "Don't worry about us, the ladies' room is full and we're dying."
I've done that. I love it. And your response was,
Okay.
ladies first.
Ladies first. We know where you want to head.
Yep.
It's not here.
I don't need that. I'll use this.
That is wonderful.
I would have loved to be a fly on the wall for that.
It did surprise four of us, I must admit. So, have you done any modelling recently that you want to talk about?
Yes, absolutely. I did some shoots with Bill Murph and Richard Gill recently. And yeah, I've got a lot of images coming out. I only have released a couple.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of really good ones coming out, and I'm going to use them for different things, probably for, like an album cover or something like that.
And didn't you go up to Cheyenne Fashion Week?
I didn't end up going.
Oh, you didn't end up going?
But I was involved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Helping with the organization?
A little bit. It wasn't, it wasn't a lot. We had a lot of things, working parts, and, I feel like I just kind of added a little bit.
Have you done any runway work recently?
Recently?
Not
Other than
really?
there was a casting for Cheyenne Week.
Oh, okay.
And they had a gauntlet, and it was a runway, but it wasn't an actual fashion show. I haven't actually been in a fashion show in years because I was mostly focused on music.
Yes.
Which is there, but that is a slow process coming back.
So the music has taken a sort of a bit of a back burner at the moment, but it doesn't mean that it's off the stove.
Right, we're still working.
We're still working on it, because you've got a great voice.
Thank you.
You really do.
And, I still have my songs, so
Yep.
I can perform if people, still want to use me. I'm available for the things that I've already, done.
Right. And just thinking about it, I just had a thought, which doesn't happen very often.
Oh. I thought you had many thoughts.
No, my mind works like lightning. One gigantic flash.
Like a pinball machine.
All over. You alluded to doing some film work.
Yes.
I believe a Netflix film, did you say?
Indeed,
What
yes.
was that?
Amateur. It was released in 2018.
Okay.
And I just kind of, honestly, a lot of this just kind of fell in my lap. A lot of, all of this, really. And so I had done a couple of indie films, I did some sound work for them, with the boom.
Yes.
Old boom where you're like, oh my God, I can't breathe, stop breathing, just so they can hear it.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I honestly didn't think I was going to be any good. I had directors beating down my door, like, your images tell me you're an
Just
actress.
works.
You're an actress. There's no way you don't act.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So I went in, and then I accidentally ended up in the indie film as a extra, which we could talk about another time.
We'll talk about that another time,
But it was a funny story. So I made a friend in that indie film, and he was main character in the Netflix film, and so I ended up being invited to do a extra part, which really wasn't, in my mind, as big of a deal because it was a basketball movie, and I'm this, basketball fan. So I'm like, if they see me, I'll be great. But I'm pretty memorable, and I'll stand out even in a crowd, and I did.
And you did.
And I did. So the director ended up pulling me and another person out of the audience, which is another story. That guy. Anyway, he had everyone leave, and him and I sat in the auditorium, and he had us do a whole quiet interaction.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't use it, didn't make the cut, but the fact that they pulled me, and this was 3 films in my film career.
Right.
This was my 3rd set that I ever walked on. And so I'm like, well, this must mean something. Who does that? Nobody gets to do that.
Right. It is unusual, I must admit. Yeah. It is unusual.
So I was very blessed, and it was here in Denver.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Shawan Na, thanks so much for coming in today. This has been a pleasure. I love sitting down and chatting with you at the table.
I have a great time talking with you.
This table loves you, by the way.
I love this table.
And it is the same table.
I know, we had a whole discussion, but now I see.
We did, but now you see.
Now that I'm close,
it is
and
the
I can
table.
feel it, it's the table.
And we've only just scratched the surface. Anyway, I'm your host, Nigel Ave, signing off. This is the Captain's Lounge Studios. Thank you very much for watching. And don't forget, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Thank you. you.